Have we seen the last of Mr. IPL MS Dhoni in the Indian Premier League? Was the game against RCB 2 days ago his last dance? Well, the man himself has been tight-lipped, but looking at all that has happened this season, injury affecting his batting position, the presence of his family at the last few games, all suggest that MS Dhoni may well have played his last game for the Yellow Brigade. If that is indeed the case, that the 43-year-old is done, then how will we remember him? Here's a look back at arguably the greatest player to have played the IPL and his glorious career. Now, it seemed business as usual for Mahi. A day after his team's heartbreaking loss to RCB, the man was back in his hometown Ranchi doing what he loves the most. Well, that isn't unusual for a man that has remained detached from results throughout his career and focused only on doing the processes right. A mantra that allowed him to perform exceedingly well under extreme pressure. Now, it wasn't a fairy tale ending, though, to an illustrious career, with his team needing 11 or 5 balls, a rather comfortable target in today's day and age. The onus was on Dhoni to take his team across the winning line and with it into the playoffs. But Thala fell short, dismissed on 25, and his team eventually falling 10 runs short of the qualification mark. As the Superman who fans expect can always do the unthinkable, made the walk back to the pavilion as a dejected man. Worse was to follow, as the most successful captain in the history of the IPL was embroiled in a controversy post the game. He was spotted walking off the field without shaking hands with the opposition, seemingly because of the extended celebrations by the winning team, that is the Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Now, did RCB exaggerate their celebrations? Or was Dhoni impatient and not willing to wait a few more minutes on the field? The jury is still out on that one. But will this become the lasting image fans will remember him by? Well, not quite. Fans will, of course, remember Thala for his overall contribution to the league. Across 17 IPL seasons, Dhoni scored over 5,000 runs, an extraordinary feat for a lower-order batter. During the time, he smashed 24 half-centuries, which included over 354s and an awe-inspiring tally surpassing 256s. Read that again, 256s. Incredible numbers, those. But it's not just the sheer numbers that made MS Dhoni great. It was his ability to pull off the impossible that fans admired the most. Like his 70 not out versus RCB in 2018, possibly one of the best comebacks by a team in IPL ever. Chasing a mammoth 205, CSK were reduced to 74 for 4. That's where Dhoni walked out, turning the game around in just 10 overs to take the visitors over the finish line with 2 balls to spare. Or then again, another example, his man of the match winning performance versus Rajasthan Royals in 2019. In a surprise move, MS Dhoni walked out to bat at number 4 when his team were reduced to 22 for 2. The Dasher went on to score an incredible 75 of just 46 balls to take his team to a winning total of 175 and win the man of the match award in the process.
I watched the ball hit the ball, and also by that time, you have spent enough time to know what are the variations that are really working well on that wicket, how is it coming on to the batsman, whether you can play a few shots that may be not your stronger point. So I think by the 20th over, you're almost ready, and you swing at everything.
Despite those knocks, the jewel in the Dhoni crown will always be the fact that he remains the most successful captain in the history of the IPL, having pocketed the title 5 times, the joint most, and having taken his team to 12 IPL playoffs in the 14 seasons that he captained across 2 teams, the most by any skipper in the league's history. But the road wasn't always smooth along the way. The Super Kings were banned for 2 seasons from the league, which dealt a big jolt to his image and that of his team. A senior official of the franchise was found guilty of betting, and the institution called CSK came crashing down. A team that MS Dhoni had built with his blood and sweat could not compete in the marquee tournament, and every player, including him, was left in the lurch.
and Raj Kundra have been suspended from all cricketing activities.
For 2 years, MS was seen wearing colours that nobody identified him with in the IPL, but he had no choice. It turned out to be the most unlike MSD thing to happen, as he wasn't able to take his new franchise into the playoffs. In fact, they finished second from the bottom, and as a result, MS was stripped of his captaincy. Perhaps the only low for an otherwise illustrious career of MS Dhoni, the captain.
The 2 years that we were not part of IPL, the fans stood by us and our fan following actually increased. Those were the tough times, but I feel I was waiting for this time so that we come together and we are a franchisee that is known for cricket.
Now, while Dhoni had already acquired the status of a demigod in the country, there came an incident that showed that he was mortal too. Back as captain of the Chennai Super Kings, he did not cover himself in glory when he stormed onto the field of play to argue with the umpire as a crucial decision went against his team. Dhoni was upset over a no ball not given, especially when it first appeared that the on-field umpire had gestured for a no ball but later decided to overturn it. Ups and downs, but with what he has achieved, he can still be called Mr. IPL. Now, has he played his last match? That's the big question. There was no fanfare, no announcement, no guard of honor by his team, which could mean that he may come back. The official line taken by the team is that he has asked for a couple more months to decide. But keeping his fitness issues and the fact that next year is going to be a big auction and chances for team to rebuild for the next 3 years going forward, it could well be curtains on a glorious career.